Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for watching once again. It's Arsenal Fan Circle, and Stan decided to delay this podcast just because I've reached the milestone. It's just another day for me, but it's my birthday today. I'm not begging. I'm not begging for birthday songs or anything like that, but I'm really, really happy that the Arsenal gave me one of the best birthday gifts I could get. A 2-2 draw with Chelsea. 10 men against 11. I'm still buzzing.
Yeah, yeah, same. Watched it down the pub. It was it was a lunchtime kickoff for us, which was a bit of a luxury, which meant that we can have a few beers from kickoff because it's not so early in the morning. And yeah, I'm still buzzing now. I mean, I don't know where you want to start.
Yeah, I don't know where I want to start either. Give me your overall impression of the game.
Um,
I guess I'm starting by letting you outline it for me.
well, the first half, I was with my man Mike, and I remember as we were sort of like in the first half, he was umming and ahhing about going home at half time. He did have a lot of work on, but he was finding it a little bit of a dreary watch.
Yeah.
And then obviously we go down a goal. We go down a goal in in the way that we did, the manner that we did. It was like, oh no, here we go again. Like it's another one of these. The way that I phrased it was, that sometimes we are the architect of our own demise. And it was literally like sometimes things are going good, we'll just pull out a shotgun and shoot one of our legs off, just for the hell of it. It was one of those moments, and going in at half time. Especially when we moved Xhaka into the back row. So we've got a centre-back pairing now of Xhaka and Mustafi. I was like, wow, strap yourselves in. This is going to be a hell of a ride, having these two back there. But in all fairness as well, not wanting to be negative, I thought Xhaka did have a good game overall. He worked quite hard. He did work quite hard back there. So that was the first half, really. I wasn't sure what was going to happen in the second half. But it's funny because sometimes with certain players, you think, well, I'm not sure whether they're going to get a goal today. And there are some players where you sort of think to yourself, when you see them in the starting lineup, you think to yourself, we're definitely going to get a goal here today, I think. And even before the game, I thought that about Martinelli, because he's been so frequent with his goal scoring now. When you see that he's in the team, you do think to yourself, I don't know what the result's going to be, but we're definitely going to get a goal here, I think. He's capable of getting a goal. And when he scored that goal, I mean, everybody in the pub, it was lunchtime, so you have a lot of people coming in, they sneak out from work to watch the football. The roar in the pub, and, it was great. I mean, to do that, to run that length of the pitch, to keep his composure, to get a little bit of luck with the Kante slip, but still managing to keep control of the ball, not to sort of like panic. And then he could have squared it, right? And I remember saying, like, he could have squared it to the right. Who was it that was on the right? It was either Lacazette or Pepe. One of those,
I believe.
Pepe. He could have squared it, and had Pepe bungled it, we would still be praising Martinelli, saying, that will come because he's only 18. It will come, decision making. But he is 18, and he made the right decision. He kept holding that ball and he tucked it away. I mean,
and what I love about that, Stan, is that we don't have we have some players who are afraid to take that shot. Ozil, maybe Xhaka, Lacazette's low on confidence. And to have a player who's a stone cold killer in front of goal, like Martinelli, Aubameyang, who's not injured, but on suspension. We need players like that who are gonna, see the whites of the goalkeeper's eyes and not be afraid and take that moment and slide into the back of the net.
I mean, I don't want to go mad, but I mean, I do think that we could be watching, a generational talent perhaps unfolding, before our very eyes, and it's great to see that happening at Arsenal.
I was thinking about that, Stan.
There's been a lot of times you see other teams bring out a new young kid from somewhere, you know, that goes on to do great things, and you're sort of like, well, where's our one? You know, when are we going to have one again? It's been a while, and I think this kid could be the one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, Stan. You know what the club did in the summertime. They sold Iwobi, they sold Mkhitaryan. So basically, you're getting rid of your experienced wingers on each side of the field who played a lot of games last season. So what's happening is you have inexperienced players in Saka, Nelson, Martinelli, Pepe. You know, these are all young players that we had the blood through this season, and I wasn't sure if they were going to see the fruition of their talents under Emery, but we're certainly seeing them in the last 5 or 6 weeks under Mikel Arteta. The young players coming to the fore.
They all look like they belong. You know, they don't look out of place. You mentioned Saka. I really like this kid. I mean, if you remember when you know, Ainsley Maitland-Niles was put in a similar position, we needed help in a position that he wasn't familiar with, and he was the one chosen to step in at right back. And I remember seeing an article where he was sort of quoted as saying that, you know, it's not really my position. You know, I'm just trying to help out here. There's going to be mistakes, but it's not really where I play. You know, my position is X. And what I like about Saka is that you've not heard that from him. He's just got on with it.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably thinking to himself, okay, this might not be the ideal position that I want to play in, but this is a way for me to somehow cement my team and play for Arsenal in the first team.
Yeah, and okay, if he's going to be a winger, great. But he's doing a great job at left back right now.
Yeah.
And I think playing in the left back position can only help him if he goes forward to play on the left wing as well, because he's going to know all of the situational football that he's going to need on the left side of that flank for us.
So as we're talking about that position, it does make it all the stranger why we keep seeing these links with the guy from Paris Saint-Germain, Lavin. Because
it seems maddening to me, Stan, that we're even linked to Kurzawa from Paris Saint-Germain, and I really hope the club doesn't do anything in that respect.
Because I mean, I think Kolasinac, he's not going to be out that much longer. He's not out to the end of the season, so he's going to come back. And we do now have this, you know, we've got Saka, who seems to be able to manage as cover. And then we go into, you know, it won't be longer than, you know, a couple of months before Tierney's back in training. So I was reading today that I mean, again, we don't know how much of it is true, but they're talking about 4.2 million, and he can come to us now. So, yeah,
I'm very lukewarm on that, Stan.
Yeah, myself as well.
Marvin, a new viewer here. I haven't seen you around, but I'm glad you're here, Marvin Hagler. Stick around, enjoy the podcast. Hope you like it here, and hopefully we see you in the regular. We should have won both games, Marvin said, and we can't argue with that, Stan. We definitely threw that Chelsea game away.
Yeah, I mean, we went down to 10 men, and I think, you know, under Unai Emery, that would probably be a game that we would have lost. You know, they dug in. You know, we went down to 10 men, and the team dug in.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Hopes.
Morning, lads.
How are you?
Morning.
So, Tony Turner has requested for me to do something.
Okay.
It's the Predator thing. You are an ugly mother. I hope that was good enough.
Just for you, Tony. Just for you, mate.
Just for you. This is what we do for our viewers. Marvin's just joined this chaotic podcast. He's a new viewer in the comments, so I hope you stick around, Marvin. Tony, I hope you enjoyed that. With a little bit of practice, I can get better. Trust me. The Predator is somewhere behind Hopes right now.
Yeah, my favourite line from that film was, "Want some candy?"
Yeah.
And he's looking at the little kid from the tree.
Chelsea, we so 1 point out of 2 games, Stan. Yes, we were unlucky with the home game, but that Stamford Bridge result, I will take that. That's a good point on the road.
Yeah, we were just saying, going down to 10 men, and the team seemed to definitely dig in. Their heads didn't drop. They didn't think, well, okay, back to the training ground and maybe we'll get a result in the next game. They still went for it.
Yeah.
With 10 men. And I mean, that's the positive. I've seen a lot of rival fans online sort of like saying, why are Arsenal fans celebrating a 2-2 draw? It's because we're seeing that we're turning a corner.
Yeah.
It's not because we drew a game against Chelsea. It's in the manner that we done it. The 2 goals that were scored were from players that we really want to see kick on at Arsenal. Hector Bellerin's been out of some injuries. There's been a lot of people saying that, he's past it. We should be moving him on. Ainsley Maitland-Niles should be playing ahead of Hector Bellerin. And I think that's probably one of the reasons, why we're going to see better performances from Hector Bellerin, is because for a long time now, he's never been threatened for his position. And now that Ainsley Maitland-Niles is getting a lot of praise in that backup role, that can only do wonders for someone like Hector Bellerin, who knows that he's got someone sniffing at his heels, so that when he does get the minutes, we're going to see the best of him. And wow, that goal, that gave us the very, very important point. Not so much in where it puts us in the table, but where the team think of what they're possible of doing in the upcoming games. Yeah. It wasn't a loss that they're looking at each other saying, wow, look at what we managed to do with 10 men. They probably, they must have sat in that dressing room and looked at the players at either side of them and felt for a very long time now, they could probably feel confidence in what they've got around them. Each player, everyone was helping everyone. Everyone was working hard to do their job.
Yeah. That new Tony Turner, that new signing, Colonel Mustard, really let us down. And we'll get into that, Tony. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of time to get into that. But got to give props to Hopes for the title of the podcast. I gave him the opportunity to title the podcast Courage, Passion, Pride, and Colonel Mustard. Hopes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the honor. Thank you very much. It's a real privilege, from being the guest to having the honor to name it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, it had everything, that game. It had everything. Not just on our part, we had Colonel Mustard, but look what happened to Kante. One of the best CDMs in world football. There were errors on both ends. Chelsea were unable to finish the game. Chelsea had numerous chances. That I remember one in the opening minutes with Tammy Abraham, knocking the ball straight. He had the whole goal to head the ball into, and he just passed it back to Leno. But hey, this is not a Chelsea podcast.
Yeah, this is not a charity. It's not an Arsenal charity either.
Whoa!
We're not handing out points here, are we?
No, but So the title was inspired by by the team. Just the team, the effort, the hard work. I piggyback on to what Stan was saying with regards to it wasn't so much about the draw. It was the manner in which we conducted ourselves as professionals. We came back, we dug deep. I've read, and since the game, Louise said to Martinelli at half time, just score for me. Just if there's anything you can do, you can score for me. And I also believe Louise must have had a word with Mustafi after Louise must have calmed down and said, look, whatever's done's done. Now we've got to win the game. Like seasoned pros. And I think that spirit is coming. That courage, that passion, that pride for the badge is coming from none other than Mikel Arteta, and the players are up in their game. I never thought that. I thought half of these players were done. I thought they were dead. It was like they're done out here. Get rid of them. But they look revived. I mean, in every game, this is our 6th game or 7th game.
6 in the league, 7 in total.
Yeah, 7 in total under Mikel Arteta. I mean, previously on the Arsenal fan circle, we've been talking about how Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, Saka, Torreira have developed. But what about Xhaka? That was his game to develop. And even Mustafi, he made such a blunder. He didn't just put his head in his hands. He came back from that. you know, and it wasn't just for the last 5 or last 10. There were like about just under 70 minutes to play, and he did it.
Yeah, Stan, a great sign in a team when you go a man down, and very often it's difficult to play with that extra man. So Chelsea really didn't know what to do with that man advantage. But we're not looking at Chelsea like Hope said. We're looking at Arsenal here, and 10 men against 11 really shows what you have in terms of team unity. You're in the foxhole together with all those players.
Someone else that really, and again, a great performance in that game was our goalkeeper. Because,
absolutely,
you know, if you think of what we paid for him, was it 23, 24 million? And then you look at the likes of what Chelsea and Liverpool splashed out for a keeper.
Yeah.
He's getting more, he's having to work harder than a lot of other goalkeepers are in the league for a start, because
he's had a busy season.
He's you know, especially under the Unai Emery tenure, with the amount of that were coming towards us. Wow, I'm really impressed with that guy. He really does save us points. He's had that one little blunder, and it's you know, and these little blunders are going to happen when you're in the role of a goalkeeper. Yeah. But he's immense between the sticks for me. Such a good find.
Do you think, Stan, that Bernardo made a mistake coming out of the penalty area so quickly for the Mustafi goal? A little bit of a rash judgment for me. Now, Bernardo has been immense, I will give you that.
Right, the game just gone?
The game just gone. When Mustafi's passed back, Leno comes outside of the area. He can't really do anything but duck out of taking Abrams down.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of miscommunication there. I don't think anybody expected that he was going to make that.
Nobody expected Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard on the 30-yard line.
with the ball.
I mean, not only did he make that pass, he didn't even put anything on it. You know,
no, it was very, very weak.
Put anything on it, and for me, if we're talking about this incident, you know, David Luiz had to do the best that he could, and he was really trying hard not to make it a nasty vindictive foul. And for me, yeah, it's a penalty, but it's a David Luiz yellow card and a penalty. That's it. You know, the double jeopardy. You know, it's a yellow card. It's a yellow card and a penalty. It's not a straight red for me. You know, the double jeopardy thing, I thought there was a double jeopardy rule that was supposed to be there.
What's your justification, Stan, that Mustafi's coming back around? Because he is. He has come back around to maybe cover a shot.
But the thing is with Mustafi, and I've seen, we just said it a moment ago, he didn't let his head drop and he saw out the game and had a really good game.
Yes.
But the problem is that what he cost us, for me, his mistakes, they cost points. So it doesn't matter if he goes on and has, in the first minute he does that, and then for the other 89 minutes he has a staunch game. For me, all those 89 minutes, they kind of get erased and swept under the carpet because it's a points game that we play here.
Yeah.
And he just cost us big time there. His error, it cost us a penalty, a goal, and a player. We got double bagged. And I kind of feel for him. I mean, the camera goes straight to his face and he has that, that Mustafi expression that he does, that really, you just want to grab hold of him and just go, oh, I know, mate. You just want to grab his head.
Yeah.
Grab his head and, oh, mate, he looks so, he just wants the ground to open up and swallow him right there.
Yeah.
And then you see it. And I don't know, it's like was he cursed at birth or something? Like some old family curse that's been handed down, because he's always in the wrong place at the wrong time,
Yeah.
I do feel for him, but he has to, we have to be looking at moving this guy on now. I mean, enough's enough, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think Arteta will have seen all of this, Hopes. He's seen it over 7 games. He's going to see it over the next 15 games.
Absolutely. Even before he arrived, he knew, sat on the bench for his final game, where Man City played Arsenal, or his penultimate game, because they went on to play another team prior to him arriving at the Emirates. He knew, I mean, even as, the second in charge for City, when they're doing their scouting and when they're doing their, analysis of who to who to approach and who to go for in the opposition. Yeah, Mustafi sticks out. But hey, I just want to touch on what Stan said regarding about, he must have been cursed from birth. Not a bad curse, because he's actually a World Cup winner. I mean, and
he's taking a tidy check home as well.
Absolutely.
But sometimes when you make a deal with the devil, there's a trade-off, right? So he got the World Cup in one hand, but from then on, he has to go through life with this sideshow going on. These mistakes. That's the payoff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, perfectionism is still something I think everyone's trying to aim for.
He's still striving.
Yeah, when it comes to Mustafi, there's let's not hide away. There's always been an error in him. When has he ever been that guy to stand up? I'll tell you something.
He's not flawless for 90 minutes.
No, I'll tell you something that I've noticed in him though. In the last few games he's played, he's 70-yard balls to like Aubameyang or Martinelli. He's by the right, he's by the corner flag in our half, and he plays these crosses. He whips them across, and not crosses, like these forward balls. I mean, they rarely come off, but when they do, they're actually something. And then you mentioned, sorry, my brain's just gone blank.
You got the assist for Martinelli's goal, really, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was the one that headed it out.
Yeah, I mentioned that on Tannor's. I mean, as far as assists goes, it's one of the more basic assists, because basically it's like the goalkeeper rolling the ball out to Martinelli and say, hey, you make up the rest of it, Martinelli, from 80 yards away,
Absolutely. And I think, you touched on a very important point there, Stan, when you said, look, maybe things would have been different if the Arsenal had 11 on the pitch on the day.
I was just going to ask that question as well.
Oh, sorry. It's just this
Go for it. You got it.
Yeah, no, and we'll never know. We'll never know. But nevertheless, we didn't get to see that side of them, but we did get to see, hey, when we go down to 10 men against the Chelsea team, a hard-working Chelsea team at their ground, what is possible? I mean, you touched on Leno. When you were talking about Leno, I actually thought the year Leno arrived, if you think about it, Leno, Guendouzi, Torreira, that was when Unai Emery it was the start of his tenure, right? But
you would get Liechtensteiner as well and somebody else. Was it that same window? Liechtensteiner as well?
Liechtensteiner came in.
And there was somebody else.
There is a fifth one.
Right. But what I thought of, at that point, it wasn't just Unai Emery, was it? Because we still had Sven Mislintat, right? This guy who picks out gems. And I wonder how much of his influence, where he was finding Leno and the rest of, like Torreira, Guendouzi for us, and then whatever happened, then he left. I think Leno, he played a cracking game for us. I think the stats were something like the end of the first half, Chelsea had 9 shots. They scored 1. Hudson-Odoi, Willian, he was getting peppered at stages, but he saved us a lot. And the point you make about double jeopardy. See, I was looking into this because I was down my local watching it, and some guys said, no, that can't be a red card. That can't be a red card. But the latest Premier League rule that I found was it's down to interpretation. If it's not a deliberate foul, it's a yellow card. Yeah. However, it's down to interpretation by the referee and the situation, the context it's in, which determines if it's a red or not. It's a yellow clear. And that's it. No.
So there's no more clear opportunity of a goal.
For me, that's like like gobbledygook, basically saying if the ref wants to fuck you, he will.
Well, pretty much, you got free license, ref.
Not just the ref, but VAR as well. They'd have
that's
to
the double jeopardy we're talking about.
Yeah, because it was like prior to, it was the triple punishment rule, which said like it's a red card and a suspension. And if it's in a penalty box and the award of a penalty, however, deliberate, you see, no, and then it goes on to say deliberate fouls will still incur a red card, but this source is going back to 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
I haven't, and it goes on to say the deliberate fouls include holding, pulling, pushing, not playing the ball.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Luis was doing. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, definitely pushing, I suppose.
So Tony Turner said it's why Luis' mistake is worse than Mustafi. For me, I'd rather be 1-0 down with 11 men still on the field.
Yeah, I hear what Tony's saying, but Luis has been put into that position.
Yeah, he was put between a rock and a hard place. For me, he puts his arm underneath the armpit of the player, but I feel like it is a genuine tackle to attempt to get the ball as well. And Mustafi is coming, but if Abrams has clear go at the goal, and it's going to be a goal. So for me, it's a red card.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to train a dog. Like trying to basically teach him how to sit or her how to sit, or like, especially around food.
Repetition. It's a lot of repetition and rewards.
And food, especially don't jump up on the table or like get off the sofa, those kind of things for your partner or for your family members to just like totally go and, overrule you. And I think
it sounds like you're talking about my ex-missus.
And Stan, there can only be one master.
Yeah, and the analogy I'm trying to say is with Luis, it's almost it's a given. He's a defender. That's bread and butter. You get close, there's no way, because again, I said it on the other night on Tanner's show. If you replay that over and over again, there was no he didn't go with his feet. He tried to body check him off the ball, and if you slow it down even more, you'll notice that before Tammy went to kick the ball, Tammy actually kicked the floor.
Yeah,
right.
It was not a clean contact.
Exactly. He kicked the floor, but because by then Luis was at an angle and he was like that over him, like trying to hug him. Yeah, they give it,
Do you think at that point? Do you think at that point, hopes that Tammy Abrams is waiting for David Luiz to come, and he knows what he's going to do, premeditated, maybe?
We need to get Hopes a job at VAR. That's what we need to do.
No, I would say no, Ray. Do you know why? Because again, if you watch it carefully, Tammy did everything to stay on his feet, because there was quite a bit of tussling. It looked like Luis was going into him and Tammy was holding back. And then he kicked the floor, and because he was at an angle to like turn and pass the ball into the net. As he was at the angle, he didn't kick the ball, he kicked the floor. Yeah. And when I saw that, I thought, how can VAR miss this? This is the whole point of VAR. If you speed it up, if you slow it down, whichever way you go. And going back to the double jeopardy, all of this.
And they would say that's incidental because David Luiz has made contact on the player with a clear scoring chance to a goal here. So
VAR's getting unpredictable as Donald Trump.
One thing I don't want to do is meet Chelsea in the cup and have to go to a penalty shootout, because Jorginho is going to score every time, right?
I thought Leno almost got to that as well. He weren't far off, was he? If you watch that again, he
wasn't far off, but it was perfectly placed in that corner.
He does that annoying run up, doesn't he, Jorginho? He's done it to so many keepers, and he's so calm and relaxed when he does it. And he does a little, hop before he actually makes contact with the ball. And he gets. I've not seen him miss a penalty so far, even last season.
No.
And I don't know. It's some unorthodox skill that he's mastered, But yeah, let's hope not.
All right. So 32 minutes, we're a goal down. 32 minutes. Leno saved from Hudson-Odoi, Stan. To what you're saying, Bernd Leno is keeping us in the game.
Yeah. One of our better buys in recent times, and as I said before, for the money that we paid for him, I think that we've got someone that's going to be in that position for us now for many years to come. We can forget about a goal now. we can forget about that. That's taking care of itself. We can look at other places now, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the goalkeeper we need for seasons to come.
And the backup doesn't look too shabby either, to be fair. You know,
No, I mean,
the backup doesn't look too shabby.
This is what we need. We need competition all around the pitch. And, we'll get to that with the Bellerin stuff as well and other players. Chelsea are racking up the pressure on us a little bit. 33 minutes, I think Torreira had a very, very important. He intercepted a pass with Chelsea putting us under pressure. The ball comes out to Ozil, and we're trying to hold on to the ball. The little sequence on the left. But Ozil doesn't really retain possession too much. It's at this point I'm hearing the commentators speaking about possible substitutions around the 30-minute mark, which to me, in hindsight, was crazy talk, but thankfully never happened. Stan, I'll go to you next. They were talking about possibly bringing on Holding for Martinelli, and then it was Holding for Pepe, and they couldn't decide.
Well, initially when it went down and we went down to 10 men, I initially thought, okay, Rob Holding's on the bench. Who's going to be the sacrificial lamb? And how quick can we get Rob Holding on? And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I'm sat there and I'm saying to the people that I'm with, you do realise that we've got Mustafi and Xhaka now playing as our centre back. This is gonna get hairy. And we went in at half time. And okay, we didn't make the change. They're going to come out. When we come out, the change is going to be made. We came out and they still hadn't made the change. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Now in reflection, now I can look back on that now, after the game, I thought that the message that Mikel Arteta sent out by doing that was beautiful. Yeah? Because by quickly making a change and taking off somebody else and putting in Holding, the message that you're sending out is, we're in trouble, lads. Let's just try and keep this respectable. But what he done is he put the responsibility onto the players. Yeah, he moved it around a little bit, and he didn't take anybody out. And he said, "Okay, let's stick to that plan that we were doing. Let's try and get something out of this game." You know, he might not have said it verbally, but that's the message that I think it sends out.
Mentally, and optics are a big thing as well.
That's that's how I look at it. During the time, yeah, as I say, I was like, okay, we need to get Rob Holding on straight away. But in reflection, beautiful. I like that. It paid off as well, because I'm not been Xhaka's biggest advocate this season, but he played his part there in the defence.
Yeah. Tony Turner, thanks for joining us again, Tony. We did get the shout out on the Predator thing for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Holding was fully dressed, ready to come on, Hopes.
Yeah, I find it difficult to add anything to what Stan said, because I was in.
You summed that up perfectly.
Absolutely,
we're only just padding what you said now. No disagreement here at all.
I was in the pub watching it, and I was like, right, get Holding on. But it was, again, it shows why Mikel Arteta is filling our fans, filling the players with confidence. He's showing again and again and again he has the potential. He has the ability to do well in this job. You touched on the 33rd minute, Ray. And it's interesting to note that was about 6-7 minutes after our sending off. That's when we increased our possession to 50-50. Similar number of passes between us and Chelsea by then, prior to which they were peppering our goal. On the 32nd minute, also, there was a wonderful chance that Tammy missed for Chelsea, because Willian fed the ball through, and it actually went past. The way he fed the ball through on Bellerin's side to Tammy Abraham at the top of the 18-yard box, it actually took three of our players. It took Torreira, Bellerin, and one other, I can't remember who, straight out the game. I thought, this is it. Tammy's got his second, but he missed. But no, I agree with everything Stan said.
Yeah, Stan, you hit the nail on the head right there. But I'm just going to add to it as well and say pretty much the same stuff. I think it's very, very important. Players will play to the type of players that are on the field. If you've got a Giroud, you can go what we call a plan B. We've had Giroud a lot of the time. You could lump the ball into the box. And when players know a player like Giroud's in the box, you're going to play more crosses into the box, for instance. But if you got a Lacazette, you need to play the ball into his feet. So exactly the same mentality with defenders. You're bringing on a defender, you're taking an outfield player off. You're signaling to the whole team, we're hemorrhaging here, and the players are going to go into panic mode, and PTSD will set in. You know, but you keep the players and say, okay, you're a team. You're minus one player now. David Luiz got sent off, so band together like a band of brothers and see what you can do. And that's pretty much what happened. I'm so happy that he stuck, as it happens in hindsight, that he stuck with the personnel, the players that were on the field, and they were able to eventually figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was just a great moment to watch. And going back to Stan's earlier point about if we had 11 men on the pitch and maybe we could have come back with 3 points, who knows? But going
We'll never
down,
know.
yeah, exactly, going down to 10 men and having Mikel having to make that decision was really good
Yeah.
to see, you
I,
know?
and you know what, Hopes and Stan? I've been waiting for this situation where we go down a goal and see what we can do. You look back in all of the 5 or 6 games, we actually have not gone down a goal other than the dying minutes against Chelsea at home, where we actually lost the game. We drew to Sheffield United, we were ahead there. We drew to Crystal Palace, we were ahead as well. So the team needed to experience this as well, and the way from home. And what worse circumstances with a man down as well, Stan.
Yeah. This is the first time this season where, when I'm looking ahead now to the next game, this is probably the first time that, obviously, other than some of the Europa League games, this is the first time that I'm thinking the next game I think could be a win. I'm looking at the opponents and I'm looking at how the team is looking more confident. I think that I've been saying draw for almost every game now for the last how many weeks. It's getting boring.
Yeah.
I look ahead at the next game now. I think the next game is going to be a win. And what we were saying before that, we've not really had. I think it could be one of Mikel Arteta's first game where not only is it a win, but it could be like a few goals.
Yeah.
I think a rhythm is being found a little bit here, you know, and I think the players can sense it, the fans can sense it, my cat in the background can sense it.
He can sense it.
Everyone can sense it, and I think Bournemouth, you know, it could be a 3 or a 4 goal sort of scoreline.
Nice.
And you know what happens if we score 4 or more, don't you?
It comes out, doesn't it?
He does. The Arsenal luchador makes an appearance. So 4 or more.
Love to see that. Love to see that. Pablo, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you coming in. Again, we've got 5 people in the chat, so great stuff. Pablo, so we're talking. Where are we, Hopes? Where are we now? I just lost my train.
33rd.
33rd. But what were we just talking about?
We were talking about
courage. Yes. Here I am. The courage to be a goal down and to come back from that. And the point I wanted to make also, to tag on to what Stan's been saying, we've been getting a lot of draws lately. But look at the teams we've been playing. They're kind of top shelf teams. The fixtures we've had have been difficult. Away at Stamford Bridge, who would have thought that we could have gotten a result there in the last 3 or 4 years? I don't know the last time we got a draw there. I think it was a 0-0 draw a couple of seasons ago in a dour game. But Manchester United, we beat them. We went away to Crystal Palace. Sheffield United are a very, very decent team. I think that in the cold light of day, that is a decent point. Sheffield United, although we were very disappointed about it. Now we go to Bournemouth, Hopes. Before we preview the second half, let's talk about Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, I mean, they've been on a run of bad form recently, a lot of injuries. Eddie Howe's got to put up with and work around. but I don't know if any of you saw them annihilate Brighton on the weekend. You know, maybe that's a turning point for them. And what bloody timing, you know, when we're just about to play them. They were playing at home. They beat Bournemouth 3-1, and they won in emphatic fashion. Eddie Howe is, you know, he, just like Chris Wilder, he has his boys working for him. The team, they have a style, they have a philosophy of play. The way they all work for one another. Ryan Fraser on the weekend actually was phenomenal. He was very hard for Brighton to try and pin down. And therefore, I think because they've turned a corner after their last 3 or 4 games where they've seen a lot of defeats, whether it's at home or away on the road. Maybe they've got something to feel proud about. And at the end of the day, it's FA Cup. It's that cup magic, you know. It's one game.
Yeah,
Eddie
the
Howe
one-off
absolutely.
competition.
Eddie Howe will get them up for it, and they'll be there for a fight. You know,
Yeah,
they would have had. We played Monday, right, and they played Saturday, so they've had a couple of extra days
9
off.
days.
And you know, Eddie Howe would have looked at, you know, the last time we went there, Mikel Arteta's first game, where we came away with a draw. Hopefully, we can build on, you know, our recent performances, and Mikel Arteta can find the key to unlock Eddie Howe and the players. Maybe Lacazette's on the score sheet. I don't know. Equally, is Mikel Arteta going to choose similar players, or is he going to bring in the likes of Willock?
No,
You know,
I don't believe so. I believe with all of these 5-day rests that he has started to ostensibly pick the same team. Hopes pretty much
well,
for the most part.
because it's FA Cup, and I'm not saying it's you know, I'm not trying to say it's not a good cup and that, but it depends. I mean, to me, it will put out a big statement if he makes wholesale changes, like what he's actually going for. Is it Europa? Is it Premier
Yeah.
League and top 4?
I-
You know, is he willing the players to have a little extra rest? I mean, on our right side, we got no choice because Nelson's injured now. On the left, I believe Aubameyang's back. So what does that mean for Laka? Ozil?
Aubameyang won't be back for Bournemouth.
No. Oh, right. It's his last game.
3rd game.
Sorry. Yeah. So, you know, and then Rob Holding, will Rob Holding get straight back into the team, or will Socrates recover from his flu? I'm not taking Bournemouth as an easy win. Plus, it's a very small stadium, compact, about 12,000 capacity, 12,000. Monday night, you better believe it, they're going to be up for it, and it's going to be really foggy as well.
Yeah.
Because it's Bournemouth for you. It's very foggy.
And it's going to be foggy.
Very
Tony
misty.
Turner. Hey, Hopes and Stan, 5 more draws and we will tie the record for draws in a season. So we're going to get some records this season.
I'll tell you what. After hearing all of that from Hopes, I'm gonna revert back to a draw then. You totally killed it for me.
No, I'm going to counter that, Stan. I'm going to counter that. Yes, it's a small stadium, Bournemouth. It's tight, but it's only 12,000, and we've gone there before and got positive results. We beat them last season under Emery. We drew recently, 1-1 with Arteta. So, fog or no fog, I think it's an atmosphere that maybe we can handle. Hopes.
I hope you're right, my friend. I hope you're right. It'd be it'd be really good.
Also, I think that Arteta's not at the point where he's prioritizing anything. So he's making the players play as much of a percentage level as they can for 90 minutes every game. And hopefully the fitness is gaining through that.
Thing is, though, it's the FA Cup, isn't it? That's our competition, isn't it?
It is our competition. And Arteta, as I've said before, has an affinity with the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But just out of curiosity, what do you guys think for this question? When's the last time we beat Bournemouth at their ground?
Last season with Emery. 2-1.
No.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I've got it down as 25th of November, 2018. The last time we beat them at their ground.
No, I think it was last October. So October, yeah, it would have been 2018.
Yeah. Oh, so November, you
You're
mean? We
right.
didn't play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When like I think that was part of Emery's
Oh, 22
lovely
unbeaten run,
22
right?
was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we battered them at home 5-1 February 2019, and we beat them at the Emirates again just October actually last year, 1-0.
Yeah.
So just off the run of the recent results, every time we've been down there, we've that they've managed to beat us, apart from November 2018 when we came away with a 2-1 victory over them. But otherwise, yeah. I hope it's not a draw because it's one game we can do without replaying.
I agree with you. It's a kind draw to us as well. Before we get into the second half of Chelsea, Stan, it's not a bad draw.
No, not a bad draw at all. I'm very interested to see whether he goes with the strongest team as possible, or whether we're going to see some of the more young faces making an appearance. But I seem to remember him talking a couple of weeks ago. I think it was just before Reece Nelson picked up his training injury. He was saying, like, I said to these young players, if you think that you can play, 3 games in the space of X amount of days, then show me, which tells me that he may not change too much around if he's looking at players to play, constantly over that period. And I think, why not? Why not? You keep going, you keep playing. There is a school of thought that I kind of subscribe to sometimes, is that every game you pick your, best and healthiest players until they're either knackered and you rest them and rotate them, or you just rotate them out anyway. But obviously someone like Leno, he can have a bit of a rest and put Martinez in just to keep him, just to give him some first team minutes.
Good job.
Other than that, probably going to be much of what we've seen, I think.
We're probably not going to have David Luiz. We're definitely not having Aubameyang. So in some respects, the team may pick itself as well.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of young faces in that team already, right? Maybe he'll give Bellerin a rest as he's coming back from an injury, and we'll see.
I would think with Bellerin, and we're going to get into the second half of Chelsea. Any final thoughts on Bournemouth, Hopes?
Yeah, Ceballos or Ozil?
Ceballos.
Yeah, definitely it's a game to put Ceballos in, I would think. You're not going to degrade anything too much.
Haven't you heard the news? We've got to stop building the Danny Ceballos statue. We've got to finish work on that. He wants to go home.
Maybe it's because Arteta said to him, he's had a word, and that's why he's thinking. Because let's be honest, who has Danny got more chance? Which squad has Danny got more chance of getting into, Real or Arsenal?
Yeah, Arsenal.
Just touching on the Danny Ceballos thing, I thought it was odd because I seem to remember about 3 weeks ago seeing pictures of him coming onto the training pitch, and the rest of the team were doing like this guard of honor thing to welcome him onto the pitch, and we've not seen him. I think we've played a few games in that time, and I've not seen him. But I always felt that he was always using us as a stepping stone, and I don't mean that in a bad way. No. He obviously wants to play for Real Madrid. The guy's Spanish. It's probably his team. He wants to make his name there. And I always got the feeling that, we would never get to keep this guy if it's his choice. But while he's with us, he will give it his all because he's definitely putting himself in the shop window for Real Madrid. But I'm a little bit surprised that he wants to leave so quick because he has been out injured for a while. But then he has been back for a while. So obviously, the manager is not feeling it when he's watching him in training. I don't know whether I don't know. Would you it's got to be. It's probably all snooded up, gloves. I don't know.
Dude.
I think the guard of honor was because he was coming back from an injury, potentially, just to say, wow, well done, you're back. And then in terms of, why hasn't he played? He's had opportunities to play, but Mikel's kept Ozil in there ahead of him. Even when he's, even when I think in the last I think he was on the bench. He was on the bench the other night against Chelsea and in the game against Sheffield United, and still, Mikel brought in other players. When he subbed ahead of Ozil, so maybe something's been said, and that's why he's just thrown his toys out the pram and says, "Right, that's it. I want to go." And as much as him using us as a stepping stone, we equally needed his services under Unai Emery, his way of playing. But now Mikel probably thinks, you know what, we got Ozil now, so and he's not going anywhere, so we might as well make him work for his
that would have
money.
been one of the first objectives, Hopes, is to get Ozil back clicking, being a cog in the team as much as possible.
Absolutely, because
I see you, Stan.
I
see you.
Attacking wise, you can't deny it. In one sense, Ozil,
the pre-assist is real, Stan.
Just as just as Mikel took over, Ozil suddenly woke up. But now they're saying, he's downgraded a bit. But that determines to be seen. That will play itself out with time.
Yeah, all postcards at Stan the Man 68.
I thought this was going to be like an Ozil free zone this evening.
It is now. We're going to move on, okay?
Right.
Let's get to some comments here. I feel like the viewers, we've neglected you for the last 10 minutes. Pablo A, the spirit of the team is there. I just hope they do kick on and Arteta to get his players. I'd like to at least get one in this month. Do both of you agree on that? Before we get into specifics on players, Stan, I know you got a few names. We both agree we need at least one player in.
I just wanted to make one little point on Mesut Ozil, but it's a very small point, and I promise I'm not going to dig him out. Because when we changed around our formation, we went down to 10 men, and he came off, right? And there is one school of thought. A lot of people I've seen on the one hand was saying, you know what? Once we made that little shuffle round and Mesut Ozil was withdrawn, I think that the team looked a lot better. But then also on the flip side of that, I've seen people retweeting Frank Lampard saying that whilst he was on the pitch, it was Mesut Ozil that was causing them problems by drifting out to the right and giving us trouble. So I just wondered what your school of thought was on that. Do you think that we did look better when he came off? Do you think that it was the best substitution to have made? Do you think someone else should have come off and we should have kept him on? And do you think Frank Lampard was, speaking from the heart, or do you think he's just fucking trolling us?
I think I'll let Hopes take a minute to think about his thoughts. I'll go first. I think it was a good substitution. We got a little bit more energy in there with Guendouzi. And for me, at 30 minutes, if you're looking for even putting Holding on the pitch, Ozil is number one candidate for me to be hooked off at that point in time. Maybe even Pepe, but not Martinelli, as was said before. Over to you, Hopes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was part of Mikel's plan to keep him in. Let's see what he does for the team. When he's most needed. And overall, I think it was. I would have bought him off sooner personally. I wouldn't have bought Guendouzi on. And with the benefit of hindsight, I think it was pure class from Mikel to do what he did. Ozil is that kind of player where he's best going forward. Just like when Mikel Arteta came in and gave him his place back. Suddenly Ozil started being, everyone started feeling his presence. There was that stat recently, wasn't there, where he was running the most in one of the games. Was Lampard trolling him or not? I mean, in one sense, I think about it, knowing, even though, you haven't dug him out tonight, Stan, if you were a manager of any team who are going up against Arsenal and and Ozil's in the team, what would you be telling your players?
Don't worry about him.
Really?
Hard.
Seriously, I'd be like, don't
Um,
worry about him. He's not going to.
converge on him when he has the ball.
Say again.
Hunting packs when Ozil has the ball. That's what I'd be saying.
No, I was being a little bit tongue in cheek. I know what you're saying. I mean, the reason I ask it is, a lot of people say that the number 10 position is kind of a defunct position. So if you look at the way that we set our team up, we kind of play with a back four with a double, sort of like a two at the in front, and then there's like a then there's like a 3-1-2. We've got Ozil in that position. But the reason I was asking that is, do you think there could be a shout for, and do you think this is something that Mikel Arteta will revert to once he thinks he's got the personnel of playing a formation where you've got 4 at the back, and instead of having 2 in front, you have 1 in front, and then 2 in front of that 1. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't literally have a number 2 sitting in the hole. You've got 2 people ahead of, say, you had Torreira, for example, as that 1, and then in front of him, you have maybe a Xhaka next to someone like a Willock, or next to someone like a Dani Ceballos, or next to someone, you know what I'm getting at, and someone else in there, and then you negate a number 10 role. I just wondered what your thoughts are on number 10 debate.
Okay, you go, Hopes. You're catching breath there, like you're ready to go.
In the last few games, especially the last one against Sheffield United, I saw us play 3 formations in the second half. And it's interesting how Mikel Arteta is always urging us to play a high line with literally just keeping the 2 centre backs on the halfway line and everyone else up. And in that, I see a bit of he's already doing a bit of what you're saying. So he has Torreira ahead of the 2 centre backs on the halfway line, Xhaka going up to support the attack, the two fullbacks supporting the attack. So I kind of see a bit of that. I also see us playing 3-6-1. In terms of the number 10, I think, in one sense, I think we're forced to play it with a number 10, because if we don't, there is no link-up play between midfield and attack, and that's why Unai Emery lost his job. He expected the fullbacks, even though they were unqualified, the likes of Ainsley, to run up and down the pitch and still come back and do a job. That's why, in my opinion, we lost the European Cup final, because Chelsea saw, if we take Ozil out the game, they've got no supply to Aubameyang and Lacazette. So I genuinely believe we are forced to play a number 10, primarily because we've only got 1.5 defensive midfielders in Torreira and Xhaka to play the forward passes that are required. Since Mikel's come in, he's added another dimension. He's allowed Luiz to play to feed the attack, and that's why it almost goes Luiz, Torreira, Ozil to any one of the front 3. And that's why, earlier on in the show, Ray spoke about 30-something minute when Ozil had the ball and he didn't, in our own half, and he had a chance to start something going, but he couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't do anything because he was stuck. I think to play 1 at the back in this day and age, it's too risky. It's too risky. And plus, even if we play 1 at the back, and that 1 being Torreira, then do we have the personnel to say, okay, we'll play 2 ahead of Torreira? Because if we do, then who are the 2 going to be? All right, Ceballos definitely, if he's fit. Not Guendouzi or Xhaka, because that's not Xhaka's thing.
Yeah.
And Unai tried to get Torreira to play that role, but by putting Torreira as like literally a centre forward at times,
Yeah, I think we need 2 in front of the back 4 stand for protection.
Some great comments in the chat box tonight. Pablo A said earlier about Xhaka moving back as a centre back, and also as well he shuffles across a lot, doesn't he, to fill in for the fullback as well when they move forward. But that way of playing, of doing that, of having Xhaka shuffling around, I think that we're doing that because we are short of the right players in those other positions. So Xhaka's running around and helping. But then what happens is now, by doing that, we lose that body, don't we? We lose that body in the midfield because Xhaka's kind of running around and covering. So maybe when Mikel Arteta has the right players, you'll see a slight formation change. And again, I was going to pick up on what Lundberg camp you just put up here, Ray, about the number 10. And I think he's right that
I agree with that.
Player, Ziyech, Grealish, Donny van der Beek, a few names, maybe even a Todd Cantwell as well.
Absolutely.
Is someone that, because they're kind of flair players, but they're not that, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by static number 10.
No, energetic, can go forward and go back, go both ways. And,
box to box.
For example, exactly. For example, that Todd Cantwell, he does get back as well. Grealish gets back as well. I don't know so much about Ziyech, but I think that's the kind of person that we need to be taking over that space that Mesut Ozil could vacate, if you know what I mean, in the team.
Yeah. I think you just answered your own question, Stan, before Ray got the chance to say his piece on it. Come on, Ray.
I also love the fact that Stan directed the conversation through a comment as well. So makes my life a little bit easier, Stan. I really appreciate that. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not having a go or anything like that. I love it. Let's get back to the second half of that Chelsea game because I want to kind of finish with one of these. You know what I mean?
Good bit.
All right, Hopes. Into the second half, and let's get pretty quickly to the best two parts of the game. Martinelli and obviously Bellerin. I love that we're going to finish with Bellerin as well because the symmetry for me is amazing. We talked on Tannor's The Bearded Gooner podcast a few nights ago. I didn't realize at the time David Luiz had been sent off for Chelsea against Arsenal, and the symmetry was he was sent off in this game. Similar symmetry for me. Hector Bellerin gets injured versus Chelsea over a year ago at this point, comes back and scores a goal, an equalizing goal, and also I feel he was knocked unconscious in a very, very rough challenge a few years ago that people like Alan Shearer were trying to justify. And we know the media, that's a larger, we need more time than we have on this podcast to talk about the media and how some teams are darlings of the media and we don't seem to get that kind of love anymore. Yes, Hopes, I am going on a little bit. Oh, Jesus Christ, would you just shut up?
I wasn't thinking that at all.
I know you're not. I'm just...
Give him a break, right? It's about like 4 in the morning,
10 to 3.
So, let's get into it. The symmetry of Bellerin. But first, Martinelli. Let's just skip through those 15 minutes of the second half and get to Martinelli. Stan?
What more can I say than what I said earlier? I mean, I call him the $6 million man, right? It cost us $6 million.
Yeah, that's a great shout. I love that.
Like Steve Austin when he ran off with that ball, he was like gone, man. But
what's $6 million worth right now these days? This 30 years later, what's $6 million worth now with inflation?
Steve Austin. But here's what I wanted to ask you is when Kante went down, what do you think that was a slip, or do you think Kante was going to make a professional foul there and try to get him?
Oh, that was a slip, I believe. I believe that was a slip. Hopes.
Oh, definitely a slip. But I think if he did not slip, because Kante wasn't the last man. No, he was the last man. He still
was. There was a couple of players aside of him, but they were never getting back.
They were doing it all night, Stan, making tactical fouls all night, and I think that's a big part of the way they play. And I think he would have tried to, he would have made a tactical foul had he not slipped. But yeah, clear slip in my opinion.
I heard that because Martinelli only earns £10,000 a week. I mean, I say only, right? I don't
Only.
right? I like to earn 10 grand a month, right? But I've heard that they're looking at increasing his contract to maybe 3 times that. I think 30 grand a week, and obviously increasing his contract. But if that's what's going to happen, then do you guys think that we should be putting in right now a very high buyout clause to keep all the vultures away?
Absolutely. I think that's what we did with Guendouzi, didn't we? After his first season, we gave him a new contract. A lot of YouTubers that I'm aware of, Arsenal YouTubers, they were saying, "Oh, there are bigger fish to fry. Why are we worried about this kid?" and so on and so forth. I just think it is the Midas touch that, and it is just thank our lucky stars that Mikel Arteta came in when he has Aubameyang got his red card, and Martinelli is now getting the chance to show what a lot of us have seen in the games that Unai Emery started him early on in the season, and we have to we have to get him to sign, put pen to paper, and under Mikel, I think this guy can really crack on. We've heard prior to Mikel coming the amazing things he's done with Sterling, Sane. And Delph, that's the one, Leroy Sané, and Delph, and so many other City players. And this has come from those City players as such. So, let's hope he doesn't have a greedy, Martinelli doesn't have a greedy agent like Nicholas Anelka had back in the day, and that we managed to keep him, because he's not the finished product. I actually thought before he scored, he was having a shit game. I thought, I was there with my mate in my local, and I was like, this guy's out the game. Like, what's he bringing to us? Like, we're missing Aubameyang, and then he goes and does what he does, and then I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Lombard Camp says put a 270 million buyout clause in the longest contract we can give him. He's surely the future. We got to build the team, not necessarily around, but he's going to be a big part of the team.
But just to follow on what Hopes is saying there, that he does look like the kind of guy that, even if he does look like he's not having much of a game, he doesn't not have a much of a game where he looks disinterested and disengaged. Do you know what I'm getting at? Things are just coming off for him, but he's still running around like on full steam and trying, because there are a lot of times when things were going on where Chelsea were in our area, and I kept seeing number 35. Number 35 was in there. If he wasn't making a tackle, he was still being in there, trying to be an extra body in defence. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And again, I mean, just to where he picked up the ball, he wasn't standing on the outskirts waiting for a ball to be played out for him. He was in the thick of things in the penalty area and just stepped back, and the ball came to him, and off he went.
Yeah. So, wonderful assist from Mustafi, Colonel Mustard. Yeah. Wonderful assist. Point that out.
There was a game in the, I think it was in the Europa League, where he bagged 2 goals. He bagged 1 goal, sort of like, I think it was in the first half of the game. I can't remember who it was against. But his second goal was almost on the 90th minute. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Like, from whistle to whistle, he's still going.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, legend has it that he's still running now.
Yeah,
Kieran. I love that stat.
Kieran Tierney gave him that assisted for that goal when he was in between the 2 European players, and he got his header in. I was there for that game, but he shows me more potential than a player very recent we sold from the same continent as him.
Yes.
Who am I talking about?
Alexis Sanchez, yeah.
Because when he came to the Arsenal, he was doing that. He was running back. He was defending, energy, effort, and the Arsenal fans loved it, home and away. I remember the game against Crystal Palace when we drew, and he started having a go at all the players. I just hope, in this present day where agents want money and money talks and so on and so forth, that he doesn't get swayed away from the club. And I think Mikel and hopefully Raul and Edu will be doing everything to try and trying to get him to stay on a long-term contract. But just before we move on from Martinelli, I think we all need to put some respect on the guy's name who found him.
Yeah, I do, right?
And also as well, it's the kind of goals that that I've seen him score now. He scored goals coming in from crosses where he's coming into the box and volleyed them. I've seen him score goals with his head, his right foot, his left foot, dribbling with the ball and going past players and then finishing and almost rounding the keeper. He looks like he's able to do it all.
And we've seen now with this goal as well, Stan, running from the edge of his own box, a perfect assist, like Tony said, 1 error, 1 assist for Colonel Mustard in his second game.
And I don't want to sound like I'm bigging him up too much, but as I put out on Twitter, I think it was after the game, I am seriously thinking of, finishing with my missus and asking out Martinelli. So,
as I said on Twitter, I wonder why you want to go to Brazil.
Well, you know what, Stan? You know what, Stan? We gotta enjoy these times. We have to enjoy these times. I'm telling Liverpool supporters, enjoy these times. It might never happen again. You're gonna win the league. You're gonna win it in some style as well. I just hope you drop 1 or 2, but you're gonna win it in some style. Enjoy it. And we have this kid, Martinelli. He's having a breakout season. He might be our player of the year this season. So if he keeps going the way he's going, he's going to give Aubameyang some run for his money for a player of the year. But to take the ball on the edge of the box and bring it forward, we got to slice the luck that we hadn't, the bad luck that we've been having against Palace and Sheffield United. It got paid back to us in spades, I guess, against with Kante. Straight through, lightning quick. To your point, Stan, he's scoring all kinds of goals. Sees the white of the goalkeeper's eyes, and what all strikers are supposed to do is hit the ball close to the keeper's legs, where they can't get to the ball.
And also, let us not forget that Man United have had 4 opportunities to get that kid. 4 times he's been at.
I've seen that doing the rounds. Pogba, pictures of Pogba with him.
Pictures as well. I've seen some old pictures of him up and around there. They missed the boat on that one. And fair play to what Hopes has said, that we went in there and we were decisive and they saw something and we've got him now. He's ours.
Yeah.
And I hope he's ours to keep, because once he gets back and he's around the likes of Neymar in his training squads and all of these players, and they try and sway him and stuff like that. That's why I think the whole series of events that led up to him starting against Chelsea was nothing but just pure, like it was some joy that we needed. We needed a player like him, because every time he comes on the pitch, irrespective of his age, there's a belief. When I've been, at the Emirates and he's been on the bench, everyone's like, oh, just stick it, like if we've been drawing or losing, just stick him on for the last 10 minutes. Maybe he can do something. And he is that player who doesn't need to be told, mate, go on and keep running. It just comes to him naturally. And therefore his stocks are rising every game that he, every game he plays for us, his stocks are rising fast, and I just hope that we manage to keep him, because if the board carry on like dickheads, forgive my French, and they're tight and they don't spend any money, and he's not getting any success, he might just do an Mbappe, or anything.
You're absolutely right. We got to nurture this talent. We got to keep him. I want to say big up to everybody in the chats. If you weren't here, it'd be just the 3 of us sad. Whatever's talking to ourselves.
Yeah, hey Boots.
But you're a very important part of it, all 6 of you in the chats. And big up to Boots. Hi Boots.
Yeah, Boots. And Tina Turner.
Tina Turner. Good one.
That's Tony Turner.
Simply
you ugly mother.
Tina Turner, simply the best.
The people in the chats make this podcast just as much as the 3 sad people in front of you.
But what Boots just said there as well, he said about Kante, if you look, he reached out for his leg. That's what I saw as well. That's why I asked.
As he was falling,
As he fell down, he definitely tried to catch him. Tried to catch him.
But maybe we need to put some oil at the bottom of Martinelli's boots
But
so that doesn't happen.
did you see as soon as Martinelli was past Kante, he was a man possessed. He knew what he wanted to do. He didn't care. He was like tunnel vision. I'm going for you. Kepa,
Yeah.
are you ready? I'm coming for you, mate.
Coming
And
for you, buddy.
he was like, because he wasn't surprised when he scored. His celebration just straight up to the fans, and then he crossed his arms. But he was a man possessed, and good on him.
Did you see the story behind the celebration? He ran over to that section, and
Yeah.
apparently it was a fan that did it. He
Yeah.
clocked it and responded and did it back. It's a nice little caveat on that. Brilliant.
Remember those defenders, Boots says, who were running free, they were dribbling. He also had the presence to go around Kante, who, if you look, reached out for his leg. So, yeah, there could be something in that.
Terry all over again, in a way. It did have that Terry
It
thing.
was Gerrard all over again, right?
Yeah.
Pablo, I don't understand why he has no fear. I want to know more about his life. And that's interesting. We could dig into that.
Brazil, young.
Look, the kid was literally doing keepy up in the streets of Brazil with watermelons a year ago.
Yeah.
And look at him now.
Hopefully he doesn't play for in the Olympics for Brazil. And that's a conversation Arteta's going to have with him pretty soon and see what happens, Unfortunately, he may want to go to the Olympics, and we have to respect that as well.
Okay, go on. I thought there was already some talk about the Olympics. Do they have qualifiers for the Olympics? Is that what it was? I saw that he wasn't going to go and do that. He was staying at Arsenal, but I didn't read too much about it. I don't know if it's qualifiers or the actual tournament, but he's not going.
Well, whatever it was, I don't know if it was the Olympics, because in Mikel Arteta's presser after the game, two reporters were talking, and one reporter said to him to ask Mikel Arteta, "Are you still planning on letting Martinelli go?" And the other reporter said, "What, to that competition that's already started?"
Right.
I don't know what competition is actually currently taking place that Martinelli was supposed to go to, but whatever it is, it's already started.
So Tony must have some nice legs if he's Tina Turner.
Because you can also play for Italy internationally as well.
Yeah.
But
what a
Huh?
Sorry, Ray.
No problem. What a player. What a player, though.
Pick, like A or B.
Yeah, he's not had a full cap yet. So whichever gives him a full cap first. I think one of his parents has got an Italian background. He said that obviously he'd like to play for Brazil. And clever, he was saying, I'd like to play for Brazil, but you never know, I might not get an opportunity. Basically meaning Italy might come in for him, and if he's not heard anything from Brazil, he might do that. So
the way the Italian team is playing at the minute with Mancini and their up and down form.
Stick with Brazil if you can.
I guess it's all about a bit like Iwobi could have played for England, but he chose Nigeria. I think it's where you're going to get, as a professional footballer, playing for your country or what have you, where you're going to get the chance to play.
Yeah, I think Brazil will come calling very soon.
All right, so we're 1-1 with Chelsea. Hoping that's a great result, 1-1 right now. Take it from there. Let's fast forward to the latter stages of the game. We're getting into that nervous zone again where we tend to concede goals, Hopes.
Yeah, I mean, how far forward do you want to go? I've got here 74 minutes, for example.
Yeah, skim through all that and get to the good stuff.
Well, it's got it's got to come, it's got to be matured, By the 74th minute, we had 44% possession. They were on the ascendancy. What I was confused about, you see, when they scored, we then started attacking. Why did we go into our shell? Why didn't we play a high line? I saw Mikel on numerous times saying to Lacazette, get up there, and stay up there.
You know what? At some point, I'm not going to use PTSD, but I'm going to say it a few more times before we come out of that shell. I think that may have been the situation, Hopes.
Yeah, I mean, and carrying on from the 74th minute, there was, the 77th minute, Laka, we were in a triangle with Laka at the base of the triangle, the upside down triangle, and he had a choice to make: pass to Pepe or to Martinelli. But Martinelli was in his blind spot, so he chose Pepe, and Pepe just got all fumbled with the ball, within his feet. So yeah, it was kind of a bit mad. Moving on from that, the 79th minute. Remember, Leno's quality save, because Bartley had just come on and he tried to head in the 6-yard box.
Mm-hmm.
He did a backward header.
Back header.
And I don't know how Leno saw that, but he did. And even the commentators here, where I was watching it on BT Sport, they were just like, we seem like one of the saves of the season, because there's how you know.
All right, Tony, you win. This is the comment. This wins. Comment of the night. Hopes, skim forward to the good stuff, Hopes.
Game, set, and match to Tony Tannor.
Oh God! So yeah, no, save of the season, you know, Leno.
Wow,
again,
he still remembers where he was as well. What a professional!
Again, Leno saving us, you know. And then I've got a comment written down here, and I was saying,
You can't get this guy off kilter.
I was then saying, bring on Holding, you know, and Holding then at that point came on, you know, because he, you know, earlier on he warmed up as Tony said, but he didn't come on. By the 80th, he did come back on. But I think we were just playing too deep until the 80th minute, when you know, before they scored their second. Was Tammy impeding play? Should the second goal even stood?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I don't like when I see that the player goes into the area where it's going to distract from your foreplay. The foreplay for that goal was it was not right. The ball in from wide with Tammy Abrams kind of blocking the action.
We went back to Emery ball for a little bit, didn't we? Where we went really deep.
Yeah.
And instead of like getting the ball out if we managed to get the ball, we started passing it all around the back again badly. And I was literally on the edge of my stool in the pub thinking, oh no, here we go again. Like, you know, we're gonna.
And this
what are we doing? Yeah, we were really
hopefully
deep. We play so deep sometimes. It's like one of us centre backs and the goalkeeper are playing as our centre back pairing. That's how deep we are.
Yeah. And hopefully, Stan, a result like this, we get out with a draw. It's going to help improve not only the fans, but also the players. Are going to come out of the bad memories that they've had. You know,
when that second goal went in, my heart sunk, man.
Yeah.
It really, you know, because you could see it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Because they were having it, and I was just thinking, can we hold on? And I was looking at the clock and thinking, this might just be a little bit out of our reach to hold on here.
Yeah.
And who scored that goal? What happened? Remind me. Who scored that goal for them?
It was
Azpilicueta.
Okay.
Yeah, he came bombing down the left and he crossed it. Well, no, it was a free kick, because it was at that point.
Yeah.
Tammy, like Rob Holding, he just come on and he saw Tammy Abraham like into the billboards, into the sideboards.
He was coming back into play.
And yeah, absolutely. And then it was a free kick to them, wasn't it? And Azpilicueta took the free kick, and at the same time, I just think it was just one of them mad events again in the game.
Didn't take the free kick. He scored on the other end. He'd be a hell of a player if he could take the free kick.
Yeah, but Tammy
faster
Abraham,
than Martinelli.
Abraham at that point, he was a question whether he was even going to manage to continue playing, because I think afterwards one of the reporters asked Frank Lampard, "Is he going to be okay for England, or is he like now got an injury?" Didn't Tammy get taken off, or did he last the full 90 minutes?
He was. Legend has it he was injured for the build-up to the Bellerin goal.
Yeah, he is injured now. He's out now, isn't he? They're trying to get Cavani in on loan for $6 million.
Nice.
Right.
But again, this is not about.
They can have him. Cavani's like that other. What was that player that they got last season? didn't do anything for them on loan.
Higuain.
I think
Higuain.
okay, his quality might be a little bit better, but I don't think he's going to affect them very, very much.
And
Now
he's
we come
coming in
to
at an important part of the season. It's intense, it's intense.
Yeah. Now we come to the part where we talk about the title here, Hope's courage. The courage of the team to pick themselves up from a crushing goal against them, and Hector Bellerin.
Pure madness. Like what we should have done in the 60th, 70th minute, we suddenly started to do. It was like the goal. Their goal was enough of foreplay. There you go, for us in order to, get the Vaseline out for Tony.
No foreplay there, straight to it.
Get the Vaseline out for Tony for like Bellerin to run down the wing and, come in from the right on his left foot and score. I mean, it was just, and at the ground where 367 days ago, he was taken off injured. And he hadn't played since. It was an amazing goal. Because he had two players approaching him as well as he hit the top of the Chelsea 18-yard box. And what possessed him to shoot, I do not know. But again, it's why didn't we take the game to them in the 60th and 70th? Because I thought after we got the goal, maybe there could have been a third goal in it. But no, full credit to Hector for doing that. What do you guys make of it?
I'm not going to lie. There was a point when I thought that we might even be able to. I thought that we could scratch out a third goal at one point. Maybe I was just in the youth. I was still euphoric after Martin and Bellerin, but I really thought that we could have scratched it out. But like Hopes is saying, I mean, he's our right back, and luckily he kind of had to take the ball around Tammy, right? And Tammy Abrahams was still a little bit banjaxed, which helped. But again, he had to come off from one angle, bring it round. And then I thought to myself, okay, what's he going to do? Who's he going to? And I'm looking in the box to see who he's going to try and put the ball into, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking, okay, is he going to try and run it across the front of goal or what? And he took the shot, and it wasn't, it wasn't like a very highly powered shot because it kind of took a bit of a bobble, right? It took a little bit of a bobble, but it came in right at the angle. Yeah. Right to that corner.
One of those wide curling left-footed shots.
Yeah.
Hits the ground a little bit into the 6-yard area, in the 6-yard box, and finds its way to the corner of that net.
I don't think their goalkeeper thought he's going to take a shot here, did he? There's no way.
Do you think he meant it?
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
What are you saying?
It was just a wonderful shot. It was
intended.
Did
you expect him to shoot? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't expect him to shoot.
How did you see him do that in his career? What possesses you to think, like, or what have you seen in Bellerin to make you think? If anything, I thought he would have gone further down towards the the goal line to cross it in.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never, and that's why it was just like, I was just like, what's just happened here? Like, he doesn't do this stuff, man. Okay, if it was what's that guy for Brazil, left back, with the weight, Marcelino or something like that. If he was someone like him, yeah, fair enough, or Kyle Walker or someone. But I was just like, what was this guy? Even him, like, after the ball went in the back of the net, he was just like what have I just done?
There was a tweet that went out, and it was of Hector Bellerin from I think it might have been when Kieran Tierney first joined the club, around that kind of a time, and it's them talking on the training pitch with a camera near them, and he's talking to I think it's one of the coaches, and the coach says like something about Bellerin's left foot, and he turns around and he says, "Yeah, I actually think my left foot is actually better than my right. I've been doing." Because it used to be, I'm paraphrasing, he's like, it used to be pretty bad, but I've been doing a lot of good stuff on my left foot. And he's literally said it this was like from ages ago. So he's obviously been working on it. Sometimes you see a football player and they've only got one foot, you think to yourself, if you're a left-footed player and you can't do anything on your right, and I'm looking at you, Nicolas Pepe, you would think that when training finishes, at that level, you would think, okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to spend maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'm going to work my right foot to make myself just that little bit more valuable, right? Because I can start doing things on my right. Santi Cazorla, double-footed, no problems there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sounds to me if you look at my timeline, I think I retweeted it. You hear him say it. My eyes widened. He's obviously been doing work on his left foot. So fair play to the lad.
Yeah. I also think as well, Stan, when you become a more senior player in a squad, you need to take the onus on a little bit more and show the younger kids. I still remember, I think Ray Houghton was told that when he came into the Irish setup. You know, Ray Houghton, you've been around the Irish setup long enough now. You need to take onus on yourself and start doing things and help the younger kids. So I really think that this is what Bellerin was doing, that he's taking the onus on himself, hopes, and I think it was a shot.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the word, more experienced players. Let's not forget Hector's only 24 years old. And in one sense, I think it's about bloody time he did something like that. He's been injured. Okay, that's not his fault. Whatever's happened. But we've been asking for him to do that for the last 3 or 4 seasons. Again, I question if Unai Emery was still there, would he have dared to shoot, or would he have gone down the wing? Hopefully that now sparks something. Maybe Mikel Arteta's been getting him to come in, just like he's been getting Ainsley Maitland-Niles to come in and play midfield. When we're attacking, maybe Mikel Arteta's seen that in him, and he said, right, you need to be shooting more. Who knows? But whatever happened, after he scored, the celebration, it wasn't even much of a celebration. He was just like, what has happened? What have I just done?
Yeah. Great to see Arteta celebrating 2 clinical goals. Let's remember we had only 2 chances and we scored from both opportunities. So, excellent.
And Pepe, Stan makes a great call. I actually had an argument with some guy over. I think it was a Carabao Cup game or an FA Cup game about Pepe. Not being able to use both his feet. This guy said he needs more time and so on and so forth. And I said, look, he's a winger. Okay, he's there. First and foremost, he's there to assist, but at the same time, he's there to he's there to shoot and score. And if it's not on the left, it's just not happening for Pepe. At the moment so far. Hopefully, that's a part of his game that can be developed. But great point, Stan.
Yeah. This was for me a good draw. You can have bad draws. You can be pegged back like we did against Crystal Palace. I think that was a bad draw. Sheffield United was a good draw, but for me, this was a really, really good point. 10 men versus 11. Courage, passion, pride, and Colonel Mustard, folks.
You've got to think that, it's been for a while now. I think a lot of our players have been, can't wait for matches to end. And then when that match has ended, they're looking to see when the next game is. And it kind of feels like they've been wincing as the games have been getting closer. But I think what we saw at the end of that Chelsea game is that they've come off there and now they can't wait for the next game. They can't wait for the next game because they can see that the improvement is happening. And, a win's coming, guys. I really feel it. And I think that maybe we're going to get one against Bournemouth. Yeah. Because I think that the way that we've been talking tonight, everyone in the chat box, what you're seeing on Twitter, Arsenal fans are really happy at the moment with that game. As I said before, it's not just because we drew 2-2 with Chelsea. It's because that we can actually see the team playing in a bit of style, battling, digging in, and it looks like that we are turning a corner. And we can't wait for the next game now to see how we build on that. That's
exactly, Stan. I got to believe if we lost that game 2-1, the tenor of our conversations tonight would be pretty much the same, right? We'd be a little bit more pissed off, but basically we'd be saying the same things.
You'd be a little bit more pissed off, but you always have that get-out clause. Well, we were down a man. Yeah. So, I mean, if that's how the conversation would have been, we should be able to take a lot out of what we just did with 10 men, because we actually overachieved, exceeded expectations, right?
Absolutely, and I think it's, you know, going back to the title of the show, they're all playing for the badge, and Mikel Arteta summed it up beautifully, where he said, you know, it comes down to any player on the pitch can make an error. Aubameyang did it against Palace, right? But can the remaining players actually, you know, take it up a notch and say, right, you know, okay, whatever's done's done now, and we're gonna dig in deep to get something. I think if we had lost that game, I think we'd still had lots to shout about because of the way we would have gone down. You know, in the past, there's all that argument that we just capitulate, we just flop. But in every game now, going back to what Stan was saying, they're not wincing. They're looking forward to the next game, because there is that whole the whole new ideology of Mikel Arteta, what it means to be playing for the team. What it means to be playing for the badge, what it means to be playing for one another, but more importantly, because they, in my opinion, they cannot wait to go out on the pitch and implement what they have learned during training, and to see, okay, can we actually get this done? It's almost like, you know, like how a lot of Andy Murray did this when he won the US Open. It's not against the opposition. You're playing against yourself. You're trying to prove to yourself that I can do this, and that despite everyone else saying I can't, like the fans or whoever saying I'm past it, move on, you know, he's dead, like, you know, he's whatever. Let me try again. And I think that's massive, down to the players and down to Mikel Arteta. And now it's up to the board to at least get us one win, one player in within the next 7 days, whoever he is.
Yeah. Quickly, we'll get through the comments and we'll get out of here. Hopes. Lombard camp. That's nice. I like that. We've had so many draws this season. We have to differentiate between good draws and bad draws. For fuck's sake! Remember, we're going for the record. Somebody said if we get 5 more, we've got the record for draws this season, and we got to get some goddamn records this season, right?
Yeah, we've got more draws than bloody MFI.
Listen. We gave Colonel Mustard some grief around here, but he did get an assist. And yes, he does go to the fans. And you know what? Hopes he does own it. I believe he owns his mistakes most of the time.
Yeah, but it's like Stan said, isn't it? It's come on, learn from them. Yeah. You know, because, you know, what's the point of making a mistake in the first and then just, you know, making amends for the other 89?
He's always liable. He's always liable for that one mistake. Just like Martinelli's always liable for that killer goal.
But again, it's a case of how many more chances is this guy going to get? Seriously, like, you know, we had Holding come off the bench when he, you know, on the bench, and when he came off the bench, he put in a great shift. So it's kind of like, if that's not enough reason, then I don't know what is. But now we're actually stuffed, because if Socrates doesn't come back for whatever reason, then he's got to play, because we've only got him and Holding.
Yeah. Pablo A, thanks for coming in tonight. Really appreciate you. Arteta not only can win battles, he can win wars. So I hope he gets backed, and that's important. The backing as well. Still feel we should have got 4 points from the 2 Chelsea matches. I cannot disagree with that, Tony. By the way, Tony, you win comment of the night. We all know what the comment is. We don't need to go back there, Hopes, do we? Hopes is going to brush up on that, and it'll be a lot better on the next pod. 5 to tie, 6 draws to have the record. Thanks, Tony. Tina Turner, appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in the comments section. Pablo, new around here. Tony Turner, comment of the night, like I said. Lombard Camp, thanks for coming in. And also Boots, great to see you again, Boots. It's great to see all the same names coming back and a few more adding in as well. Stan, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Ray. Again, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. I poked a lot of fun at Hopes a little bit, but he's good for it. He's good for a laugh.
And I just want to say as well, if you please go to Cannon Fodder TV to check out the Gooners in Vancouver post-match reactions. We've got the one up there for the Chelsea game as well, and I'm also going to be on the Cannon Fodder Bite Size tomorrow, which I think is around 7 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, go check that out, folks. I've been busy this week. I'm going to check out the your Vancouver podcast as well. Stan, Hopes, thanks for coming in, my old mate.
Thanks for having me.
I
Happy
gave
birthday.
you a little bit of grief, and you were able to take it. Good on you.
Anytime, anytime.
Oh, cool. Boots, yeah. Keep checking. I don't know about that. If you turn on the notifications or something, maybe it helps. But YouTube is weird that way. Definitely going to try and get word out to you a little bit more often as well through that here on Gundam News. So we'll take care of that. Once again, thanks for joining me, folks. This was Courage, Passion, Pride, and Colonel Mustard. It's silly o'clock where Hopes is, and Stan, thanks for joining me. We are out of here. Until next time, we'll talk to you at the weekend. 2-2 draw versus Chelsea. I'll take it.